rest, right?
You guys will be able to long rest. I will be introducing game following the end of your long rest. Yes.
Now recording.
Hello, Craig. That said, hi. Welcome back.
You faded.
Oh, what happened? Hi. So that said, thank you all for returning to another episode of Loose Cannons. Pleased to have you with us. Welcome and welcome. First things first, I would like to call for a recap as I have no real news to go over this session. So if there are any events that particularly stood out, or if anyone has the broad strokes of what happened in our last session, please don't be shy.
We immediately jumped into combat with the just army, the ragtag army that we have. Used some pretty good tactics, took down one of the Heir of Feathers, and healed up some new allies who might be going back to meet the caravan. I don't remember exactly what they were doing. We have a wagon now, I think. That's what I remember, specifically. Or unspecifically, anyway. Oh, and Alina talked to one of her ancestors.
Yeah, that's jogged my memories a lot. Yeah, we ran into combat. We dealt with one Heir of Feathers. Then another one showed up, and we dealt with that one. Then Alina began marshaling her troop of kobolds to... I guess the plan is for the Caravaneers to link up with our main column. And...
I think they're planning on going back to Nyanzaru, or going to Nyanzaru, because most of them are from the New Haven area.
Yeah, something like that. I know Mbanje also got the Ankylosaurus back, convinced him that no one will be whipping him. Alina and new Tabaxi friend.
Purple Haze and Stitch of Fabric.
And Cece's character, whose name Wisp, that's what I thought. Well, everyone's pretty much pissed at the one merchant, so he's on the shit list, and he might be pulling that wagon alongside the Ankylosaurus. We don't know. We'll see. I think it was Vanya and Wisp who said about mending the wagon.
Yeah, mending.
I can tell you now that the fat man is actually hog-tied and thrown in the back of the wagon.
Oh, the Ankylosaurus didn't want the fat man on the wagon.
It didn't, but when it noted that someone else was driving and the fat man was tied up, he abided. It was fine with them.
The Ankylosaurus relented. This was amenable to him.
This is acceptable.
This is acceptable. We can, yeah, sure, fine. Okay. Let's see. Any other standout moments, mentions? You guys have the broad strokes of it.
Lena's looking into dabbling into maybe working for the celestial bureaucracy, or maybe just not being tied down to one god. But hey, in the end, Saloon was the one who was like, yeah, you're doing a thing for me, I'll help you.
Attention and notice has been noted.
And that was something that Jean noted was unusual. I remember that conversation as well.
Good ear. Jean did point out a little bit of jealousy that she openly admitted. Just the idea that Alina could so readily and quickly garner the attention of the Maiden of the Moon, Our Lady Silver, Selune. But chalked it up to ASMR being ASMR. Okay, so, I believe that covers the broad strokes of last game. Let's just move to our more familiar backdrop. That's more like it. Following the rescue of a number of travelers and the apprehension of the slippery merchant Redland Anyo, you all received a tip. The Asphalt Pits, a place naturally steeped in death and danger, was home to a large and toothy and loud creature. Collectively, you all put two and two together. Big John's final words described a fight near that area, a place where he sustained blows from an equally massive beast. The King of Feathers, assuredly now a dominating force within the army of the dead, has made his nest somewhere in that area. Following the rescue and setting along the course that series of pilgrims, turning them toward the direction of the caravan to meet up with the caravaneers, you all begin to head off toward that destination, toward the Asphalt Pits. That evening, you made camp a little bit closer to your quarry. Although not all of you are at home in the jungle, between your experiences and talents, the evening passes quietly. Even in spite of being within what's known to be a hotspot for undead activity, the magical camouflage provided by your companion Mbanje prevents anything from getting too close, from seeing you. That said, I know Alina stayed awake for a while to meditate. Who else has kept watch during the evening?
I don't see a reason why Mbaji couldn't do so with Buddy Holly.
Certainly.
I typically have my skeletons keep watch nearby too. Not that they're very observant, but they try.
Not very observant, not really capable of sharing what they learn, unfortunately. Mbanje, and I'm going to say, Alina, you would have stayed up long enough to catch wind of it. Those of you who did keep watch toward the later part of the evening, you would hear movement now and again throughout the night. The occasional snap of a faraway branch, the faintest gurgle from off in the distance, the broken bray of a beast not yet aware of its status among the unliving. You hear the sound, the ambience of undead movement, but nothing ever comes close enough to be threatening. The morning that greets you is overcast and cool compared to the day before. A distant rumble rolls through the sky, far east from your camp. Your destination lies ahead. Another trek through the jungle and into the hostile flatlands of the Asphalt Pits. You guys estimated it's about roughly a day's travel between where you are now and to a point where you could begin to search and flush out where the King's Throne might be. If Stitch's word of caution toward the beast's activity was any indication, you all get the impression that finding it probably won't be hard. Tracking down a beast that active and that loud should be easy once you get there.
Oh no.
Does Jackson break?
DM?
Mm-hmm.
Neither of my Skelefriends failed their Oh wait, no. Yes, they did. Sorry, I got my numbers backed up.
Yes, they have to fail the check to remain.
Yes, I thought they had to. Never mind. Ignore me. Everything's good. We're all good here.
Okay.
How are you?
Losing
worries.
is winning.
Frederick and Jackson remain pleasantly. They regard you pleasantly as an ally and a friend, as much as you can get that impression from a Skeleman.
Yep, we're good. Please continue.
Let's see. Actually, let's open up on Vanya, since you are rolling for your skeletons. You prepare your morning activities. What do Vanya's morning activities look like?
After waking up, I guess the first thing I really do is make sure my Skella friends are good, and then I start cleaning myself up, prestidigitation, getting myself presentable for the day. This is also the morning is also when I would chat with and play with Petal and Stratus to see which one is best able to help me for the day. In this situation, normally during the daylight hours out and about, I would take Petal with me, but since we're investigating a nest of undead energy, I would ask if Stratus would like to join me for the day.
You get a cool glance back from Stratus as you pop that question. And in typical cat-like behavior, there is this kind of snark below the surface, a cool judgment, as the cat sits a little straighter, looks you over, and with a flick of their chin, tips their elegantly fashioned hat that he still wears. And now you come to me for aid. Very well. I shall accompany you.
Your company will be most appreciated. I'm sure you will find something of interest in a den of undead energy. I promise to try not to let the T-Rex eat you.
I appreciate your selflessness. Very well, vassal. Protect me. And he's going to begin trotting forward, tail high in the air, as the group is gathering and preparing to move.
I give him some scritches under the chin.
I feel like Alina, I don't know if she just noticed Stratus, or I mean, okay, her perception is like 0. She just noticed Stratus. She's like, what a cute little gotcha. And I think she's just gonna give him all the affections.
Oh, God. So Stratus is reduced to a puddle as he's pet from all sides.
That's very appropriate since Stratus spends most of his time, if not wandering by himself, then riding around inside one of the skeletons.
Yeah, Bone Mac. That's how you do.
Yeah.
That sounds like a good spring point to check in on Alina. What does your morning look like?
Helping with breakfast in ways that do not involve cooking, because Alina is not allowed to cook.
Ways that do not involve cooking. So, to that end, Jean is up bright and early and is taking count of what is left over from last night's gathering, seeing what is available among those present as far as rations go. She's kind of curt about it, but not to the point that it's offensive. It's very much a person who is...
We do this.
Needs to be done quick.
We do this.
It's efficient. If you have food, you're sharing it, because if you're getting pulled off the ground, we're sharing that with you. So, delegating tasks, moving things around. And
I also think she's having a fairly, I think she's gonna give a sermon to the kobolds and, our froggy gentleman. I think it's not...
So,
yeah.
that said, I would remind the party that the previous evening you set them off on their course.
Oh, we did! Never
Back
mind that.
toward-
Then we'll
back to
focus
the
on
Caravaneers.
breakfast.
Yeah, let me actually remove those tokens off the map, because that might get confusing quick.
I forgot that part. In which case,
worries.
breakfast, pet the cat.
breakfast, pet the cat, and quite importantly, break camp. Things have to be picked up. Fires got to be put out. Corpses have to be deleted. Yeah, theater of the mind. Ignore the bat, please. So, I'd like to ask, after following Alina's discussion with a yet-to-be-named incarnation of hers, what's going on in her mind as far as that goes, that revelation?
I think she's letting it percolate. She also... I think she knows she's being drawn towards something. You know that feeling you get when you're like, I have half an idea, but the whole idea just isn't quite there yet?
Mm-hmm.
I think that's where she's at. And it'll be obvious that she's
Alright.
thinking something.
Yeah, there's some kind of potential that's percolating there. All right.
She might have a conversation with Jean, but it might not be over morning chores.
Might not be over morning chores. All right, so I'll keep that feather in my cap for now. As you see, Jean is basically in task mode very much, but there will be plenty of time to talk while you walk through the woods. Let me see. Give me just a quick perception check.
How?
Okay, one in the pool.
Wow.
We already have one in the pool, guys. It's happening. So, Alina, as you are considering your options and thinking about your path and where to go, and this half-formed idea in your mind, your attention is drawn eastward. You feel this, not a nagging sensation, but almost like, you know when you thought you heard something, you thought you saw something.
Yeah.
As quickly as you dismiss the hallucination, you're already turning in that direction.
I get that all the
Find
time.
yourself- Nice, cool.
I work in a hospital. It's haunted as fuck.
Oh, haunted as fuck. So as you find yourself facing eastward and looking up through the break in the trees, through the canopy, you find there are a great number of dark gray clouds above, which seem to grow darker the further you can peer through the woods. With a natural 20 in perception, I'm going to give you a little bit of nature with this as well. This is not the rainy season.
Jean, come look at these clouds. They look suspicious.
So as you say that, Jean drops what she's doing and moves on over, dusting her hands off, looks up toward the tree line, kind of squints a little bit. Rather dark out for this time of year. Rather cold, too. Well, not cold, but by jungle standards, it's a little bit chilly. Ominous. Perhaps we can get a better look if we can break through the trees. I'll keep my eyes peeled upwards just in case. Hopefully this does not impose a detriment to our travel.
I'm also going to take a moment to check in with it.
Okay. You check in with it, who has been kind of just sitting in the cowl in your hood near your shoulder. You see that its condition has not changed between the last 2 days, rather the last day and a half. Her tiny form has grown a little fuzzier.
Hey, kiddo, still holding up?
It nods and leans against you.
I'll give her a couple of gentle pats and then we'll keep going.
All right. As you prepare to meet what the morning has ahead of you, let's see. We have Mbanje, we have Incognitus, we have Wisp. Are you guys up to anything in particular as breakfast concludes, as camp is broken down, as your heading is set?
Would Mbanje be able to see those dark clouds, or is that just something for Alina?
I mean, Alina called it
What's
out,
your-
so.
She called it out.
Called it
Okay,
out.
good.
With Alina calling it out, absolutely. You do notice that it's
It's
well, you
sus
spend
out.
a lot of time outdoors. It's sus out. It's very sussy. It does look like there is a storm brewing.
Okay. That besides, Mbanje was actually ritual casting commune with nature.
Commune with nature. Can you post that into the chat?
Yeah.
And expand. There we go. Briefly commune with nature and gain knowledge about the surrounding territory and outdoors 3 miles of you. So ritual casting, you can pop this is free for free. Let's see. Up to 3 facts. Okay. So you tap into the power of nature surrounding you, the power of the green, and you seek for something or someone's to get answers. Get answers from.
All right. The most the obvious question would be like up ahead, like how far ahead is the mass of undead? So they can, get a not only a heading but a distance so they can prepare themselves.
All right, so you get three pieces of information. So you ask about groups of undead, where they may be, how best to avoid them. That would be one question. What else do you ask?
Otherwise, he is just interested in the area, medicinal plants, for now or later use. This is so like he's just more like stretching and using it for the sake of using it. He's not really like,
Okay.
yeah.
So the one specific question that you ask, you reach out and you feel around and call upon something to answer your questions. And a voice manifests in your mind. Groups of undead. That is a loaded question. There are many within these woods. The concentration is quite high. Within 1 mile of you alone, there are dozens. But they are spaced out far. They are not moving quickly. You and yours should be able to avoid their advancement, so long as you keep your ears open.
All right, that's a good answer. No follow up to that one. So then, prevalent plants and flora. Sorry.
Prevalent plants or fauna. The plant life ahead, though lush here, does steadily grow less and less vital the further east you go. Do not look for fruits here. There is no bounty beyond where you now stand. The berries are bitter. The fruits are withered. poisonous things grow. Though from poison, medicine can be made. Do with that information what you will.
Oh yeah, there is a third question. Uh, it's unseasonably dark and cloudy out here, is it not? Is that a natural, um, an unseasonal yet natural formation of clouds?
It is most unnatural. Somewhere else bears down upon this place. Somewhere else may yet perforate without care. Beware the shadows.
Wait, what? And though he wanted to ask a follow up to that, that's three questions. So now he's annoyed at himself.
Beware the shadows. Beware the shadows.
No, come back, yeah.
You are left with more questions than answers, perhaps, than you had planned for, as your meditation and connection to the green breaks.
All right, Mbanje is going to confirm what he just learned, that is quite indeed an unnatural storm cloud. And I'm just gonna guess that maybe we have some weird realm stuff happening.
Good to know.
At that mention, Jean looks to Alina and rubs her chin, seemingly concerned, but not entirely understanding. So, as the party chews on that information, was there anything further that Mbanji wants to do this morning?
No, just tending to Buddy Holly, tending to Sister, just a little chat with Sister to make sure they're okay and, check on their state.
As you converse with Sister, she perks up a little bit and kind of looks you over, tilting her head. Will there be more adventure today?
We're actually on the way to go fight a bigger lizard. I think you might be interested in watching.
We have never seen such a thing before. We are interested, yes.
So like the one we just fought, it's supposed to be a lot bigger than that. So we're gonna make sure that you don't get anyone near it. But you're gonna probably have a great spot to watch it if it's bigger than the ones that we fought before.
She nods and seems to hang on every word as you speak. So, as you commune with Sister, Wisp and Incognitus, are there any activities that you perform during your daily ritual?
Not particularly. Just making sure everything's set up and ready to go when we're ready to go.
Alrighty, Cece's just checking her skills real quick. So, yeah, Inconvenience, you double check your gear, you make sure that your armor is mended. Fortunately, it seems some of your companions do have the ability to fix small breaks in your armor. So, as you finish your polishing and sharpening, you hitch your belt and prepare to move. Wisp, you...
I'm gonna do forewarned as forearmed. Wisp is actually gonna approach Alina and ask if she would like a reading. Basically to bless them for the day, since she seems to be the one that runs headfirst into battle.
I would love a reading.
Right, you basically have a karma die then.
Sweet.
While you do this, Wisp, what does your divination look like? Are you using cards, rolling bones?
Definitely rolling bones.
Rolling bones. Okay. So you spend a little while, take a couple of specially crafted, carved bones, cast them onto a smooth surface, and begin to decipher meaning from them. Okay. So it looks like everyone is ready to move.
I do cast mage armor when we do set out, like right before we do.
So right before you head out into the woods. Mage armor, it lasts, what, 8 hours?
8 hours.
8 hours, okay. Travel will take about 8 hours to get to where you're going to. Let me actually move the clock for a little bit.
Actually, because Vanya would have thought this out in advance, she would probably check in with Alina and Mbanje to get a sense of how far they have to travel, and she'll wait to cast that when they get closer to their destination. But she will be casting it.
So, traveling through the woods and accounting for breaks, you guys should be near the asphalt pits, closer to sundown.
Yeah, I'm sure we'd take a break at some point along the way, and I can cast it then.
Of course. All right, so just hold on to that, and when you want to pop it, let me know. You can wait until, like, if you guys get ambushed or whatever to do it, but I'll count it as cast when you choose to cast it. I'm not going to gotcha. It'll be there when you need it. I'm not going to make you burn it for the whole day. Okay, so you guys begin to head out. Already in the thick of the woods, you begin to travel. Let's see. Looking at my passive perceptions here. Alright, cool. As you guys navigate through the woods, you notice... Well, first of all, you travel for several hours. You begin to notice the further east that you go, that the ground is growing less and less padded with overgrowth. There are fewer ferns, there's less grass. The trees become steadily less sturdy, their trunks thinner, with deeper cracks and crevices in the bark. Trees which would normally be fruiting bear withered and undergrown offerings for would-be local foragers. Several hours in, you begin to detect a scent lingering on the breeze. Faint, but acrid and foul. Hard to place smell. I'm gonna say Alina and Incognitus. Two of you are no strangers to smithies. for some time, there's uncertainty of whether the scent originates from something that might be found in a smithy or another crafts place. It definitely smells of chemical. As you guys continue to travel, the trees begin to thin so that the canopy can be seen through. It's very oddly dim toward this time of the day. The sky above is cloudy. In the distance, the clouds seem to thicken into what appear to be storm clouds. But as mentioned, it is out of season. Let's see. Is the party traveling stealthily?
Well, Mbanje would have indeed let everyone know that there are pockets of undead around, and they need to travel carefully. Stealth might slow them down, but it is the party's group discretion on whether or not we actually stealth.
Yeah, I think Alina will point out that it's often useless for her to even try to stealth. She can promise careful, but stealth is kind of outside her wheelhouse.
Is there anyone in a party who could just like move forward 5 minutes as a scout?
Could send Buddy Holly.
I look at Stratus to see how comfortable he'd be with that idea.
Let me check Stratus' stat block real quick.
Would he do it for a Scooby snack?
What wouldn't he do for a scuba snack?
A Stratus snack.
Stratus snack. Features, actions. Oh, no shit. So, Stratus looks to you and glances around. Alina, do you mention a snack?
Oh yeah! Alina will be like, I mean, I can make it worth your while.
So, I'm gonna give Vanya just passive. With your passive insight, you know Stratus would have jumped at this until Alina mentioned the snack. His ears kind of flick up and off to the side, and with that cool, kind of scrutinizing glance, the feline looks from you, Vanya, and toward you, Alina, and kind of rolls his head. If I'm sufficiently incentivized, I suppose I could.
That is awfully kind of you, Stratus. Your beneficence is overwhelming.
Don't forget my pragmatism. And he's going to plod on over to Alina. What do you offer?
I will give you some of my dried meat rations, and I know it's not very... negotiations. This... Actually, you know what? No, Alina wouldn't find it weird to negotiate with a cat. She does it all the time. It's not very tempting, but I will hunt you up something better this evening after we camp.
I will accept the dried meat now.
As a down payment.
And the dead thing later, yes.
Sounds like a fantastic deal.
Vanya is just watching with a bemused expression on her face.
He waits as you fish through your items to present a piece of dried meat. Upon handing it over, you find that he's got some very sharp teeth that he snags the meat from you with. Standing, tail in the air, with a little flick of the tip, Stratus leaps and disappears into the ground. You notice as Stratus disappears
I moved you back.
that it's not the ground,
Oh, okay, like I was coming back at the
but
same
the
time
shade
you
of a
came
nearby
back.
tree that he seems to just meld into. And just like that, the cat is gone.
He is a very gifted cat.
Well, you're gonna have trouble probably following that trick, but do your best, Buddy Holly. I believe in you.
Same deal for you, Buddy Holly. And Alina will toss Buddy Holly some dried meat.
I just had this picture of Buddy Holly trying to imitate Stratus and just like plowing headfirst into the ground.
Absolutely. We need more snow for that. You toss Buddy Holly a piece of meat. He barks enthusiastically and begins to bolt off into the distance. Though his movement speed is very quick, he does seem to be moving fairly quietly.
Are you certain that he is going to come back?
Important question. Do you pluck sister off of him before he does this?
Yes.
Okay, cool. I just needed to know. Just needed to know. Okay, I'm going to roll some dice real quick as you guys debate. Do you guys continue moving?
Yeah.
Or do you wait?
Like, I imagine Buddy Holly getting like 2 steps, and then Bonjay makes a leap to save sister.
Fantastic.
Yep, that's my headcanon too.
So you guys stay put?
Actually, I was thinking that the party could move forward.
Yeah.
Yeah, just
Yeah.
not at the same
Keep her-
speed.
Correct.
It's not the same speed. Okay, so you guys, you move a little bit slower, kind of casually, as time passes. Now, there was no mention of how long these guys should stay out there, so you find yourselves traveling for 10 minutes, 15 minutes, 30 minutes. It's at about 45 minutes that you notice movement in the distance. Incognitus, you've got that passive perception of high. Incognitus, you notice first the tiny creature darting through the woods, rustling bushes and trampling down ferns. You catch the glimpse of purple and pink scale, and you recognize Buddy Holly is approaching. Though quietly, they are disturbing a lot of trees along the way.
Oh,
And
here he comes
soon,
back.
there he comes. After a few moments, Buddy Holly presents himself to Mbanje, panting a little bit, but it does not seem agitated or terribly bothered. There's a bit of body language happening as Buddy does turn back eastward, as though looking for something, peering for something, almost like a pointer dog, pointing.
Does he do the Scooby-Doo point?
No, he does not do the Scooby-Doo point.
What's the Scooby-Doo point? What stands on all back, hind, and points because he's a goddamn freaking nature dog?
No, it's when he like plants his feet and sticks his head straight forward and his tail straight back and aims himself in the direction he's trying to point people.
When he reverse plank.
Yeah, Buddy's posture is more like head down toward the ground, tail kind of lifted. Not quite a pouncing posture. And Bonjay, as a furball, you can kind of just read this passively. He is trying to point out that there is an entity or entities in your way, in your path. There are things to watch out for.
Okay. And Bonjay is gonna give Buddy Holly a good boy scritching. So we should probably make our way around this if we don't want to waste time and resources getting into a fight.
I'm going to, at Mbanje's mentioning, I'm going to reach out mentally to see if Stratus is nearby.
Let's see.
It's like
Are
100
we
feet.
using the? It's like 100 feet.
Yeah, based on the Find Familiar.
Based on Find Familiar. Right, we haven't changed the rules for that yet. You reach out for Stratus, though you sense your connection is still present. You cannot sense him within that range of you.
Okay, that's still to be expected. Cat gonna cat.
So, do you guys decide to try to circumnavigate a potential problem, or prepare your weapons for a problem?
Does Mbanje have the ability? I know he can quote unquote talk to Buddy Holly. I'm trying to see how deep it goes. See if he can get like
Basic ideas, concepts.
he's gonna see if it's a large group or a small group. Maybe gather some like rocks in two different groups. And point to the small group or the big group.
Oh yeah, it doesn't take you long to formulate a kind of pseudo language with this creature, but he conveys to you that it's less than what you guys are. There are fewer. You have more numbers. You have more rocks.
Okay. Well, if we should be able to play our cards right and just go right through it. As long as we're quick and quiet about it and don't attract too much attention.
And if we attract attention, we know how to deal with that attention.
Definitely.
And honestly, as much as I am in favor of not getting into any fights we don't have to get into, if they are in our way, then they will be at our back if we proceed past them. So it might be better to deal with them now.
Okay. It seems the group is content on potentially getting a surprise round. So, you guys move forward deeper into the woods as it grows steadily darker and darker. You travel for 1 minute, 2 minutes, 3 minutes more, 5 minutes tops, and you eventually get the scent of decay and death and rot. The undead, they may move quietly, but they can't stealth out of stink. You know that you're getting close. Incognitus, again, with your high passive perception, you make out 3 entities shambling slowly and steadily in the direction that you are moving. They look to be humanoids, though the faces are gone. Some of them are missing limbs. Some of them are limping on, only 1 foot. You guys are in such a position that you could potentially run up and get the jump on them.
I'm down for a surprise round.
Absolutely.
All right, so just
Heck yeah.
a quick extrapolation, theory of the mind. There's going to be 1 round that happens, and just tell me what you guys do with that round. My tokens go in order of Alina, Incognitus, and Banje, Vanya, and Wisp. So we'll go in that order. Alina, you have enough movement to get forward and attack one of them if you use your multi-attack. But you are welcome to choose your course of action here. But just know that they are within range of your melee weapons.
Mace to the face, twice, preferably.
All right, just roll me some attacks. While you do that, Incognitus, you can tell me what you do with your turn.
Sure. Probably wait just a second to make sure I'm not going after target Alina's going after.
You guys coordinate. Keep in mind, you only have enough movement to get to one of the three, so you can choose a target unless you have ranged abilities.
How close are they to each other, though?
To each other, I'm going to say they're within 10 feet of each other each. If you were to place yourself between two of them, let's see, you have a range of what, 5 feet? No reach weapons?
Yeah, no reach.
Okay. Yeah, you wouldn't be able to get one and another. They're not close enough to make use of your cleaving attacks.
Yeah, but I could bap them around the battlefield.
Oh, you could definitely knock them closer together if you want to gather them closer together. You could knock one over, push them.
I think I will
if you were to use...
go for the furthest one and hammer hands it next to the next closest.
You're gonna what is it called? Cattle rustle?
Yes.
You're gonna hurt him. You're gonna hurt him. Excellent. All right, yeah. Go ahead and roll me 2 attacks.
Another
Okay.
in the pool.
Another in the pool.
Although that
And
kind
I'll
of
resolve what
Hmm.
exactly goes down after all is extrapolated from. Very cool, very cool. Cool. So you run up ahead and begin to knock things around. In Banjay, you see that 2 of your allies are moving quickly into the fray to make quick work of these. What is Mbanje doing?
Mbanje is just going to use Thorn Whip for the one that isn't being targeted. Let me roll that.
Let me roll on it.
Would it be advantage for a surprise round or just regular?
Just regular. They just don't act on their round.
Okay, so 23 to hit, 7 piercing.
Okay. That cat's going crazy. She found a box. Vanya.
I am going to. Do we have an idea? Roughly how big is this group? Just a few?
Just a couple. There's about 3 undead that you can see.
Okay. I'm going to target the 2 furthest away with Ray of Frost. 1 Ray of Frost and then twin it with my bracers.
Sure. Roll your attacks. Does Ray of Frost have an additional effect?
Yep. Oh, max
Speed
damage
reduced.
on both. Reduces their speed by 10 feet, so they will be slowed. And then I'm going to coax Jack into doing Eldritch Blast.
All right, cool.
Maybe next time, Jack.
Trying his best. Jack's Eldritch Blast goes wild, and some trees actually feel the brunt of it. Wisp.
No. So they're running in after the undead. They're trying to do some attacks. I think I'm gonna hold my ground and make sure that they don't get too close to the rest of the party.
Hey, you hold an action, preparing to nick one off in case the others don't do the job. Alrighty. One moment. One more. Cool. So a bunch of things happen at once as you guys get the jump on this group of entities. While Incognitus and Alina dart forward, casters in the back begin slinging spells, and Banja, you reach out and you whip at one of the undead and wrap your thorny whip around it, yanking it closer as something snaps in its back. Vanya, you reach forward and start blasting with ice, consecutively smashing and slowing these creatures. Alina, your first attack strikes one of the undead creatures, setting it kind of off balance. Its body freezes and locks up with Rhymefrost as your second attack shatters it into pieces. Incognitus, you knock one closer to the others, follow up to close the gap, and manage to sever one that Mbanje had caught with his wisp. Then with that same hammer blow, strike through to the other side to finish off the other frozen zombie. Within the course of several seconds of planning and attacking, the threat before you is dealt with. The jungle is silent. The creatures do not make their undead fortitude saves and remain dead.
I think we are getting better at this.
Good job, Buddy Holly. Gives him another scritching. All right, buddy. Gotta send you off again. You ready? And pats him and then sends him forward.
Buddy Holly barks and darts off into the distance as your party begins to again move.
I'll do another check-in for Stratus.
Sure. You check in for Stratus. You find that his presence is somewhere out there. You don't feel your connection has broken, but finding him proves to be difficult. It seems as though he's keeping just far enough away to be sensed, but not close enough for you to communicate. Whether this is good or bad, you don't know. You guys continue to travel. Another short while goes past. Buddy Holly checks in, reports no changes. Again, you send him off. This continues, this pattern of catch and release to send and go carries forward until the sky begins to grow darker. At this point, Vanya, you begin to grow a little worried about Stratus. At which point, as you peer into the darkening forest ahead of you, you discern his eyes staring back from a shadow. Stratus manifests and plods forward.
You were trying to be dramatic, weren't you?
Quite the contrary, I've been searching for powerful things. More than the ragtag group of rejects you faced earlier. I cannot discern signs of any spellcasters, any life drinkers, anything intelligent. Just the riffraff. However, what is beyond here is of interest. You're approaching a dead land. Quite dead. As though the ground has been robbed of nutrients and life. There's a certain vitality of the jungle that does not touch this place. Come. You're near it.
It's as the spirit said. Poison and dead.
Poison and dead. You guys begin to follow the cat?
Absolutely.
Heck yes.
Alright. It begins to grow yet darker. The sun is setting. Eventually you approach the tree line and you find a break in the jungle. From the edge of the sparse and dying trees, you see the land stretch out before you. Miles of dry soil, dotted with wiry weeds and short scrub brushes. The occasional tree breaks through the packed clay-caked soil. But they're often dead or dying. dry, old things with wiry branches and, if any leaves, dying ones. As you approach this sprawl of land, you see distant slabs of stone, outcroppings of rock, and uneven breaks in the terrain which create long shadows. As the storm churns above, the shadows cast produce the illusion of movement in the distance. The clouds above are steadily darkening, less gray and more black. As you set foot into this new terrain and begin to travel to explore your environs, you become aware of breaks in the dying earth. Small holes at first, but sooner you start to discover longer gashes and pitfalls, shallow pitfalls, as though the surface of the dirt were weak. Let's see, quick check of passive perceptions. Is anyone above a 15? Just Incognitus. Okay, I'll take it. Incognitus. Before it is dark, you can still see quite the distance into the gloom. Your keen eyes are always looking for threats. Your head's almost always on a swivel. You're genre savvy. You've been with adventurers, really dumb ones, for quite some time. But not these guys. These guys are pretty cool. Your last party, not so much. Cubes happened. That's why you always look now.
Never been in the front line.
Never be the front of the line. While you are searching for threats, you make out movement in the distance. What appears to be a humanoid seems to be struggling in one of those breaks in the ground, several hundred meters away. Not entirely on your path, but not terribly out of the way either. From this distance, you cannot hear them, but you can just faintly make out the movement of arms, head, flailing.
I will point that out to the party. And can I tell how... if there's any intelligence behind this flailing?
That sounds like an insight check to me.
I was gonna say, is this a zombie stuck in a hole, or...
Roll me an insight check. I'm gonna give it to you flat, even though it's dark out. From this distance, you can't discern if it's exhaustion or something else. It doesn't seem natural, though.
Okay. Again, I'll point this out to the party, because... what do your halfling eyes see?
Anyone with dark vision can make a quick peep as well.
I will for the
Perception?
walls.
Why do I not have dark vision? That's lame.
Yeah, furbolgs don't have dark vision. It's shitty.
How? Oh wait, that's
It's on fire
deception.
tonight.
Okay, that makes sense. No, it's deception. That makes sense.
You lie to yourself, and it makes sense.
12. That seems about right.
12. All right. Alina. Just because you got the higher of the two, you see that this entity in the ground here, though half submerged in the ground, you see they are covered with a viscous, brownish, black substance, covering them from head to shoulder to arm. Because you have dark vision, you can make out a distinct lack of their hand as they are reaching out and grabbing. Either they got a nub, or they're falling apart for reasons. You've been dealing with undead for a while. You can kind of clock that this is... yeah, that one's expired.
Yeah, it's probably undead.
We've reached the zombie flypaper.
You've reached zombie flypaper. Do you guys move to interact or leave it be?
I say we leave that motherfucker there. Throw a rock at it.
Hit him with a fucking rock.
I could pull it out, make sure it's dead, and then we could just kill it really quick. It will not take very long.
I mean, it's not like we're leaving a human, living, breathing human to suffer. It's just kind of undead. Unless part of your rights thing is to totally put them all to sleep, which I am totally down with.
I mean, yes, but also I got fired. Let's just kill the zombie. I'm gonna go do the thing.
All right, you run off to take care of the zombie, and it's quick work. It's restrained. I'm not going to make you roll for it because you're going to hit. It's going to be a crit when you hit, and just base damage.
I'm just gonna
It's a
make sure
flash
it's a
bonus.
zombie before I murder death it.
Oh, sure. Yeah, so yeah, the smell clues you in. It's a zombie. You give it a good wallop. It doesn't take long. As the creature sinks down into the ground, you find that there are no other zombies in this small tar pit. You do discern that the tar pit is quite deep. This thing appears to be up to like just under its chest. Suggesting that if, Incognitus were to fall in, that would be a capital P problem. The material, the substance, you recognize this as the stuff that they coat torches with. Or something similar enough. So, do you return back to your group right away?
Oh yeah, sure. I'm not lingering.
Right on. So as you move back to your group and begin to lead the way and move, Vanya, you discover as the party begins to move that there is one fewer set of footfalls behind you. You're used to Fred kind of jostling and making noise as he moves. As you turn around to spot him, you find that he is stationary in place. His back is to you.
I pause. Frederick? Frederick, are you okay?
As you call out, there's no response.
I'm going to start to head towards him. Then I'm going to pause, remembering the undead that got stuck in the ground. So I'm going to approach carefully.
All right, you move. You find yourself behind him. He's like a statue staring off.
I'm going to peer in the direction he's staring to see if I see anything.
You see that he's not quite facing the direction that you came from. He appears to be looking northeasterly? No, almost cardinal north. There is a long stretch of land between you and the next copse of trees off in the distance, dead and wiry, but it looks like the entrance to the jungle is in that direction if you travel long enough. Otherwise, there doesn't seem to be anything distinct, no landmarks, some stones, some rubble. You need to do a quick insight check.
Nod your head if you sense something.
You speak that out loud. Nod your head if you sense something, if you see something. As you roll insight, as those words leave your mouth, you get this sudden sensation in the pit of your stomach. You know, like when you call out to someone and talk to someone that you believed was in the room, only to realize that there's a complete stranger there that you're trying to talk to, who's not listening to you. You get that impression as the words leave your mouth, and your stomach drops. There's no recognition.
I move my free hand to my brooch. Do I sense any change in my link?
You do not. Do you issue a command?
Frederick, please look at me.
There's a snap in the bones in his neck as he turns and kind of whips his head in your direction. He then moves his shoulders and turns at his hip to face you and regard you.
I look over to Jackson. Does he show any similar signs of rigidity, or is he still just kind of hanging out nearby?
He appears to be hanging out nearby. He's following you. He's, as much as you can tell from a skeleton, he is observing the situation. He is aware of you.
Do I feel the difference in awareness between the two of them?
Now that you have Fred's attention, it's hard to discern any difference between the two.
Frederick, do you not want to proceed?
You ask your question, and there does not seem to be a response.
You seem to be having some trouble there.
Yes, Frederick is behaving oddly.
Is there anything I might know what's going on with this skeleton?
You can roll me an Arcana check.
Could I roll something as well, just given Alina's background?
You can roll me religion or history.
What can I roll to help? Yeah, I'll leave it to you.
So as you guys gather in Banja, you ask if there's something weird with the skeletons. And as you begin to focus on the situation, Alina, Jean kind of plants her hands on her hips and looks to Vanya and Frederick and Jack. Something strange with the skeletons.
I rolled a 15 for Arcana.
There's a certain irony in that.
Is there something I can roll, DM?
Yeah, religion or Arcana, really. So a 15 and a 16 respectively.
Yep.
So, two very different perspectives that are coming from. Alina, with your 16 religion, you know it's often preached and espoused that the necromancers tend to suffer their own machinations. That when they meddle with the living and the dead, oftentimes they become what they are trying to manipulate. In the end, there are many tales of necromancers being taken down by their own minions, because controlling them, ironically, eventually they break free. As a cautionary tale, or as a parable, or that kind of thing. So you know of many stories of those who've tried to take in the will of the gods into their own hands and defied the cycle of life and death, only to end up at the receiving end. You know that that undead can break free. You're reminded of the conversation with Gallium about the Animus, the spirit that is left over after death, vague memories, imprints, and echoes of the person that used to be. And you know that Frederick and Jackson do possess some some quirks of a former life. They have inclinations towards certain weapons or Jack's ability to perform magic, it seems. So that's what you're aware of. Wisp, with your travel through Tikal and the studying of the ambient magic, the stories that you've heard from locals, and the whisperings of spirits around you, some of them necromancers who are on the receiving end of their own craft, you know that in places steeped in powerful necromantic energy and dark powers, that the undead can sometimes go into like a feral state, that they can break away, that they can break out of bondage and do terrible things. Generally speaking, an empowered undead thing will always seek to snuff out life. At least that's the common warning. You know that the presence of powerful undead things, those who straddle the world, the worlds of life and death, those undead that can cast magic, powerful specters, in their presence, passive undead, which do occasionally happen in Tikal, can become ravenous undead. They can become rampant undead. The ones that try to snuff out the living. You understand that those people who have charted the forest, that have been taking censuses, refer to this as a hot spot for undead activity, that the undead are dangerous here. Jackson and Frederick appear to be under the control of a powerful magical item. If not for that item, they may not be considered allies right now.
Playing a dangerous game, bringing tamed undead to a hotspot.
Is that what's affecting them?
I think so. I mean, they seem to be under control, but there might have been a lapse in it, just for a bit.
This looks like the Animus acting up, but you've not been cruel to either of them. I don't know. It is the... I mean, we've discussed this, Vanya. This is the nature of people who deal with the necromancy to often get killed by their own minions.
This would probably be the place where I jokingly say, haha, well, it's time to get rid of them, such a suck. But I have tamed Buddy Holly, so I guess I understand your plight.
I will keep an eye on them. If they get aggressive, I will step in. But you seem to have a good control of them at the moment.
So, serious question. I started off with Buddy Holly tied. Maybe that's a thing that can be done for Frederick and Jackson, just in case.
Even as Mbanje is mentioning it, Vanya is digging into her pack for some rope to link them together.
You gonna tie them both together?
I'm gonna tie them both together.
Yeah, they abide by it. You tie them together. You attach them at the hip.
Yeah.
They're friends now. Now and forever. So, buddy and buddy. You take a moment to tie them together. Vanya, let me ask you this. As Lena mentions that you have not been cruel, where does Vanya stand on empathizing with these beings? You've named them. You have not treated them cruel. But what does Vanya believe?
Back when Vanya first encountered them, in the refuse pit, they seem to demonstrate a certain, I guess it goes back to that idea of animus. She saw a spark in them, the way they were protecting the child. They might have been acting under instructions or of their own accord. It's hard to say exactly, but she saw something in them, and that was why she wanted to pull them out of that refuse pit. Being from Gilneas, she's aware that life doesn't necessarily end with death, and undeath can be a kind of life. Granted, she's familiar with a bunch of the tales, but she kind of wants to put her own stamp on those tales. So she has empathy, and she is trying to almost willfully test whether she can bring some kind or inspire some kind of awareness in Fred and Jack. And I think there's an undercurrent of her nature wanting a pair of undead servants, but she's also interested in their well-being and wants to take care of them in exchange for them taking care of her. So I'd say that it's working on two levels. She is compassionate towards them, and she wants to do right by them. But there is a certain degree of... she likes them as bodyguards. It's complicated.
It's complicated. Noted. So, you tie Jack and Fred together, and as you begin to move again, you find them stepping in line, following beside you. You don't detect any further staring behavior, any further lapses in their consciousness. Between either of them, as you guys begin to head off in the direction that you know of, eastward, toward greater and deeper pockets of these pools of black tar. I'm assuming you guys are moving carefully as you go.
Oh, for sure.
Yep.
Many
Definitely.
of you have dark vision. One of you has really high passive perception. Do any of you produce light for the party? Or do you rely on each other?
Hold on a second. I've got a spell for that. How long does this last?
Ghost light?
Yes, 1 hour.
Ghost light lasts an hour. Fantastic.
I might have a spell for that.
So the good thing about Ghost Light is I can illuminate an object and only we can see the light.
Oh.
Any number of creatures within 10 feet. 20-foot radius and an additional 20 feet. All right, cool. So, with the presence of light, I'm going to say that none of you have to roll dexterity saving throws as you make your way toward unsteady footing, irregular ground, and the like. Incognitus, sorry, I guess I don't get to drown you tonight. Well, the night's still young. So, you continue to travel. Gathering storm clouds grow thicker to the east, hanging in the air malevolently as a great shadow is cast on the ground far away. Though the sun is nearly completely set, in the dark haze, you can just faintly make out signs of a natural landscape elements. Features, an edge of stone that's slightly too sharp. What could have once been part of a building juts out of the ground. Perhaps ruins. It's difficult to say from where you are. But what does stand out in the dim and the gloom and the setting sun is that light does not seem to touch this particular area, maybe like a mile ahead of you guys. As you discern what is before you, crack! Lightning strikes, and for a moment, the clouds are illuminated by a terrible violet light. As quickly as the light flashes, it's swallowed by the darkness in the distance. While the sound splits the sky and the ground shakes, the pressure in the air seems to build. Those of you who have felt the touch of magic feel the sensation of potential build, change in the air, like some growing pressure is filling the atmosphere.
Eep.
Deep.
How close are they to their projected meeting with the King of Feathers?
You're in the area. You guys are in the area. If it is around, you should be able to find it here somewhere.
So, Alina, are you sure this thing doesn't have powers over the weather?
The last time I fought it, it was alive. It did not have powers over the weather. It did have very strong teeth, and I'll motion to my face.
Very strong teeth.
Well, I've heard of liches having the ability to do spells and take over things like that, but would a giant, reptile, dinosaur, suddenly gain powers like that? It doesn't make sense. Well, there's nothing for it until we find it and see what happens.
Need just a moment. Cool, all my music is missing. Here we go. So, Alina, as you point out that the last time you fought the King of Feathers, he had many, many teeth, and he did this to your face. And as the lightning kind of settles, little purple cinders hang in the air for just a moment. You feel something in your stomach turn. It feels to you as though your divine sense had been switched on. Although you don't remember tapping into that power, seeking it out, asking for permission, you sense it. It's a bitterness in the back of your mouth. It's not quite a smell on your nose, but there is a draw toward the area beyond, this place where the light doesn't touch. As you grapple with that feeling, Jean passes you and just kind of glances upward, absently mentioning, I believe it's supposed to be a full moon tonight. What a shame.
That seems appropriate.
I know where it is.
Pardon?
John turns to you.
I can sense it.
It is undead and you are a paladin. I don't doubt it at all.
That makes sense to me as well. Which direction?
I'll look at Jean with the, there is another layer to this that we will discuss later look.
She just gives you a nod.
Right, let's go. And I will open myself up to that divine sense.
You open yourself to the divine sense, you let it in, and there's this brief tug of war inside of you. There's this sensation in the back of your mind that you remember feeling once before as the fight turned long ago, where you were aware that you were being about to be torn apart, and everything inside of you screamed to run, to get out. But you knew if you did, people would die. Another part of you feels drawn to this. Not a yank or a grapple or a pull, but a guiding tether, a gentle tug. You do know where it is as you begin to lead the way. As the party approaches, you continue moving for some time, following a scent in the air that grows stronger and stronger as you follow that gut instinct of Alina's. You approach a strange collection of stones. The surrounding environment is dark, though those of you with dark vision, where normally you could follow the light of the moon, taking advantage of the dimness that it provides, here there is none. The sky appears to be blotted out. Those of you with keen eyesight can make out with some difficulty the terrain ahead. What appears to be slabs of rock weathered by time and the elements, but also shapes in the rubble. Squares, cubes. Here, what could have been a slab, what could perhaps have been a pillar. You see that the ground is elevated before you, leading to some depression just beyond the threshold of your vision. I would like everyone to please roll me a d20. Maybe off to someone.
Sam.
Nat 20.
$18.
So, you got a 5, and that 20, and 15. Alina, what'd you get?
10.
10?
Was
Mine was an 18 out of 15.
pulling out new dice for Alina.
The irony is
So.
we're rolling according to our character type.
So this was a luck check, and to the highest roll, Wisp, you discover the ground beneath your feet is hard. Not firm like packed dirt, but hard. Tick, tack. The sound your boot makes draws your attention, and you begin to feel around a little. Under the sand and the pebbles, you make out what appears to be a seam where two stone tiles meet. Nearby there's another, and another. It appears the area that you're standing on had at one time been worked, a walkway of some kind. All of this around you appears to have been maybe a structure at one point, a meeting place, perhaps, long since collapsed. Passive perception, Incognitus. As the ghost light illuminates the area around you, though those beyond cannot see you, Incognitus, your ears pick up the sense of movement, gurgling, a low and distant guttural bray, not too far from here. You know that beyond here, you will be running into entities. Do you choose to move quietly?
As much as I can.
Mood.
And we'll mention loud enough for the group to hear, but not loud enough to carry, that we've got company away.
Alright. I'd like just a group stealth check. Everyone please roll stealth. This will be based on the number of successes, not the overall quality. But crits will count for more.
Why couldn't I get some of those attack dice from earlier in stealth check?
There are 3 in the pool, by the way.
I got a 29.
I'm good.
Mbanje.
Ooh, and Monday.
Guess I'm taking one from the pool, because fuck that.
Oh, I'm at edge on stealth checks because yay.
Yep, we're in full play.
Out of curiosity, what was my? Oh my god! Look at my other dice.
A 19 and a 6. Disadvantage is a fucking killer. So we've got an 8, we've got a 12, 21, an 18, an 11. What was your CC?
29.
29. Jean is going to roll. She rolls twice. That's going to be a 13. Stratus does not roll. He just into the shadows.
My skelly friends did well.
Skeller Friends did surprisingly well. You begin to crest over into a point of elevation where you can see down below. Though some of you misstep here and there, the amount of noise is not such that it is louder than the ambient sound of the storm above, or the groans and movement beyond. Though not confident that your party has moved stealthily, you are not immediately attacked. As you cross the threshold, you all can hear sounds in the distance now, shuffling of movement of broken and uncooperative limbs, deep thumps and heavy footfalls, a gurgling whisper of a bray. You knew that you weren't alone. It appears, however, that others are converging to this area for one reason or another. As you cross this elevated point of rubble and half-swallowed stone detritus, you climb up the stonework and see below. With your ghost light, you can barely make out shapes in the dark. Those of you with dark vision can see an expanse of collapsed stonework, giving way to deep pools of viscous black asphalt. What little light breaks through the storm clouds above causes the tar-slicked bottom of this half-swallowed structure to glisten. At the center of the pit, standing and sniffing the air, while surrounded by countless broken corpses and bone piles, is a reptile of tremendous size. The King of Feathers waits in this place, searching for something, waiting for something. Its eyes bulge, cloudy and rotten, as parts of its flesh slough off and hang from its form. Its belly is bloated and wriggling with disease and parasites. Portions of its dead entrails hang out from a recent wound. Alina, you remember your first bout with the King of Feathers. It was raining. It was dark. Though you've seen a number of his heirs, you knew right away that they weren't your quarry. They were too small, too tame. But perhaps most telling was the face. For even as the King of Feathers cut you to ribbons and left his mark on your face, no one but you knows just how badly you returned the favor. You recognize the scars that you left on him.
I will be happy to put him out of his misery. This is disgusting.
So no qualms about fighting dirty this time?
No.
In that case, I have an idea. I'm gonna need everyone to distract it, because I'm going to have to get up close and personal. But if my spell goes off without a hitch, then we'll have a great advantage.
I can distract it.
I
Also,
thought you were planning for some bullshit.
Alina's gonna take a few steps away from everybody. And I think she's going to use her. Oh, the thing. You know, the thing.
Okay.
Radiant form?
Radiant form, yeah. I was looking for the name of it, but everything's changed.
Radiant something or other. Right on. So it looks like you guys are planning something. Preparing, planning, and about to do some bullshit. We will resolve that momentarily. Going to pull away from this group for a moment. For a brief interlude, as brief as I can keep it. We break away from the B team to return focus to Biff and Verdi for but a moment as they dart through the jungle. Verdi, having received a message from beyond the grave, lingering only long enough for Biff to catch up and offer his hand and both fists in rescuing the tiefling's companion elsewhere. You two travel into the night for what feels like hours. Biff, as you follow in Verdi's footsteps, you find the tiefling's movements have become reckless. Twisting and turning to avoid branches and tripping roots, the pace is frenetic and unyielding. Though the tiefling never trips, he does snap branches and occasionally makes a hard landing on a bound leap. Natasha, for her part, keeps the pace, but from your position, you can see the panther making frequent glances toward her master. While Verdi is focused on movement, you have the luxury of multitasking. You can keep up, but you're also aware of the sounds around you. It's not just your companion making noise. There are others in the woods. You're not the only ones rushing south. But you are perhaps the fastest ones. With your dark vision, you can make out glimpses, peeks at creatures darting toward a destination ahead of you. Humanoid things, pale and slim, with tight skin across bulging musculature. Teeth, mouths filled with fangs. They don't focus on you. They don't notice you. Instead, they move with that same urgency that you feel from Verdi, as though you were part of the same pack. You break from the tree line and enter into a small stretch of grasslands between the next copse of trees along your destination. You see movement just out of the way of your trajectory. Figures gathered and moving, centered on a taller figure at the center. Fires scattered along the ground, as are a number of piles of unmoving figures. In the glow of the fire, you can make out the familiar figure, the devil you had entreated with earlier, but she looks bigger now. Tall horns point toward the sky as leathery bat-like wings fold behind her. She swipes to grab one of the combatants nearby, clutching it by the throat. You recognize it as one of the ones you had assaulted the day before. Her tail rears up like a snake ready to strike, and in an instant transforms into something akin to a lance, running the thing through the belly. She lets out a deep and husky cackle, truly in her element, before calling out a challenging growl. A number of the beings appear to be cowed by the display, while a number continue fighting back. Verdi and Biff, do you see the scene before you?
Yeah, I see it.
Okay.
Yeah.
You guys can place your tokens somewhere on the north. You may choose to interact if you like, or you can choose to continue running south, but this is what you see. And there's a bird.
Assuming Verdi at least stops and watches for a little bit.
Verdi's gonna approach. And does Calavera look like she's having trouble?
Give me an insight check.
I'm gonna do that too. It's a 19.
19.
22.
22. Biff, you see that this devil is very much in their element, that they are reveling in being able to stretch their muscles. They are fighting and laughing, cackling even, as you see there are many more. Her KD ratio really good right now. Verdi, with your slightly higher check, you are starting to see that there are signs of fatigue in some of Calavera's movements. You see that a lot of the laughter and cackling, a lot of it is for the sake of intimidation. You get the impression that she might not need help, but she is being taxed.
Now I'm thinking if I help her, she can come with us to go fuck up the King of Feathers.
While Verdi is wondering if that is a plan to be done, Biff is going to run in and just flying knee the first one behind her.
You blows. How many attacks you making?
No, that would require using key points.
You get those back on a short rest, right?
Yeah.
You should have all of them back. You did get a short rest in before you left.
Okay, then I'll have to make sure to use my hit die. Yeah, just one then. Yeah, we flurry of blows too. So, somebody's creeping up on Calavera, as Verdi is watching and approaching slowly. Biff just launches a surprise attack.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
All right,
you are flanking. Roll me 3 attacks at advantage, Biff. Verdi, are you attacking?
Yeah, if he's attacking that guy, I'm gonna pull out my bow and shoot the other one that's next to Biff.
All right, roll 2 attacks.
Another one in the pool.
Another one in the pool. Oh, all right. So Biff, right off the bat, you run in, and you just start fucking tearing through these creatures with your silvered fighting chain. As the silver digs into their rot question mark undead bodies, living yet not bodies. You tear off just slabs of flesh. Your critical hit, you strike the larger and more muscular of the two in the stomach. The chain digs in deep as you find something firm inside of them. Pull back. Something snaps as gore splatters across the ground. It falls. The second one, as you cut into it, likewise, is knocked to the ground. For your attacks?
Does 26 hit?
26 is a hit.
Alright, that's gonna be 9 points of radiant damage.
9 points of radiant. So you let loose an arrow, striking the third of the 3 ghasts, catching it in the throat. As you knock the second arrow, you find that it is engulfed in swirling golden flame. It falls down to the ground dead. You find that there are no moving creatures beyond you guys.
Biff comes out. Sorry, Biff comes off from his attack, looking around, doing a little hop, ready for the next enemies to come around. Sees no more. Oh, is disappointing. Pardon for the intrusion, for stealing killed.
I'll have to forgive you this one time. She turns about face to look at you. You see the clothes that she had been wearing are tattered and torn. She looked much the same as she had earlier, but her hair is smeared with blood. Part of her horn on the left side had been snapped off. And she presents now with large leathery wings, which had not been there before. They fold back behind her, and as she shifts and turns, you briefly lose sight of them and do not see them again.
Is the horn going to be okay? As Verdi approaches, Biff looks between Verdi's broken horns and winces.
Calavera shrugs. You should ask him. Yours grow back?
Yes, they would, but so I had a vision, and there's a large undead T-Rex further down from here, and my friends are going to fight it, and they're not going to have a good time. Do you want to kill something big?
She looks you over. She looks at the piles of dead things around her. Well, that might explain why the Gaths have all been booking it south. They tend to gather around the biggest and most necromantically infused thing, like moths to flame.
Yeah.
Look,
Yeah, they're definitely doing something. And it makes sense with the vision and everything moving south and what you mentioned to me.
She inclines her head, and she's going to move in closer to you, standing between the two of you. Stand there for now. She kicks one of the bodies away from her. Although I was enjoying that fight a little bit, I think I may have been enjoying it a bit too much. It lingered for a little longer than I'd like. Fighting something bigger. She looks around. I don't get anything from killing things that are already dead. It's a sunk cost, you see. I'll have to turn you down. I could help in other ways, but it won't be for free.
What could you help with?
There's lots of those things heading south. You want to get there quickly. You want to get there discreetly. I could help with that.
Biff is going to kind of thump Verdi on the shoulder. Maybe a little discreetness is needed. You are not the most quiet in your haste.
No, I'm not. I'm stressed.
You look awful.
It was quite a vision.
She reaches forward and attempts to cup your cheek.
Verdi kind of freezes a little bit and looks up at her.
You like a deer in the headlights, kid. That said, I already helped you guys out with that little flea bargain earlier. That little extra help you did just now, it goes in your favor, but in order to help you, get there quick, avoid these schmucks, I do want something in return.
What is it that you want?
What do you got? She grins. And as you guys consider your options, she plants her hands on her hips and kind of looks away. Right now, my assets are all locked up in hell and bound up in red tape until the business with Till is sorted. I'm not too familiar with this place either. I'd like to stick around, find a place to live, find a place to hunt. If you could do something for me in hell, well, getting my shit back would be nice. If you could secure me a place where I won't be bothered around here, as I understand it, you two are notable, influential individuals. It might be nice.
You could go to New Haven.
It is indeed a budding community that is growing. Surely the dwarves could help fashion a place from the mountainside for you to live.
She squints a little bit. Considers. A promise is nice. That'll help. I'll take a favor. But in the meantime, I would feel a lot more comfortable if I could have something as collateral. Something immediate.
Verdi starts to look through his pack because they might have something that they collected.
As you rifle. Oh, yes, Biff?
Biff pulls out a potion. Perhaps something like this, for in case you meet another horde. And it's a potion of fire giant strength.
She looks it over. Uncorks it, takes a sniff, and then gently hands it back to you. Till took me on for my knowledge of alchemics. This is nice, but I could make my own.
Fair.
Verdi will take out the weird bronze egg that you found.
Egg. She's gonna pick this up and look it over. Kind of turn it over in her hand. Do you know what this is?
I haven't figured that out yet.
You have no idea what its worth is.
Verdi
Stra-
just shakes his head.
Strange that you would give it up so willingly, having not identified what it could or could not be. I could take this. She looks you over, and you see that same hungry expression in her eyes. Listen, you're a good kid. I can't make you do anything you wouldn't want to do. Like kill a good man or steal from the righteous. I could make you spend time with me, but I can see it now. What you're doing now, you're doing for her. That's something real, kid. And as much as I hate to admit it, anything else would be an empty imitation. It's hard not to be jealous. As much as I want what I want, that's not gonna happen, so I'll give you an option. I can take this. Do what I want with it. Or you could give me something else. Something ephemeral. Something that belongs to you. And you alone. That spark that lets you beat the odds. I've been down on my luck for so many years. If you give me yours, I'll make sure you get to the girl in time to save her.
My luck.
Consider it a loan. Until I get my cozy apartment suite. Maybe a penthouse instead with doors, right? She looks to Biff. Maybe some gold filigree, some nice, sturdy wooden furniture.
Biff has been looking like this whole explanation of the deal, eyes narrowed, slack jawed, like he wants to say something, but this is clearly Verdi and Calavera making a deal.
Biff, roll me an insight check.
23.
You do get that impression, and you do see that it is... You get the impression that it is very much a predatory arrangement. She can smell the desperation on Verdi.
So, yes. And Biff kind of clears his throat and makes a show of making a little noise to remind them that he's there. Biff has acquired this